While all cryptocurrencies have their differences, a lot of these cryptocurrencies started from the same blockchain technology project. Some of these include Litecoin to Bitcoin, or PIVX to Dash, and Ethereum Classic to Ethereum. What we end up seeing is a mirroring of the technology and a parity of their price and value. So let's review these different coins, let's talk about their different costs, and let's see if we can also discuss the price predictions, and let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, together, welcome to Minting Coins. So there's been so much happening in the marketplace, and we have been seeing the markets go up and the markets go down. We saw Bitcoin go last week from around $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 all the way up to around $2,700 in America, much higher in other parts of the world. And Bitcoin has crashed all the way down to around $2,100 this week. Again, not much of a crash when it lands higher than when it started, but with that being said, I think we can all expect the price to drop even further, potentially based on the SEC decision and how that affects the market and the speculators and the people coming in and out of Bitcoin. With that being said, in addition to Bitcoin, there's a whole rest of the market, what traditionally people have been calling alt currencies. And to some degree, for many of these coins, not very alt anymore, since a lot of these coins people are becoming very familiar with. More news is coming out, this year and last year, and really moving forward. Every time there's a new ICO, we're likely to hear about it because the space is still so small. But as more tokens and more projects are coming out with greater and greater frequency, we're going to hear about new projects to a smaller degree, because it's just going to get more noisy. There's going to become there's going to be a lot more news happening in the space for the existing projects, let alone all these new projects coming out. Again, think about the old internet. When websites were popping up, we heard about every single brand new website and every brand new business, and now there's so many new websites going up every day that it's really difficult for any one of them to break through the noise. So looking at these different coins, though, a lot of people have a lot of different questions and are trying to predict prices and predict value. And looking at the different projects, while I'm in no position myself to give price predictions. Oops, Siri. To give price predictions or to give advice, I do want to go over what I see in terms of some of these coins, in terms of them being extremely similar with subtle differences in terms of the technology, and how these coins that have the similarities and the differences so clearly also have price parities, where these prices seem to be really intimately connected. So without me talking too much more and not looking at the screen, let's jump into the market. Let's look at some of these coins and let's see what similarities and differences and maybe predictions that we can go over, and let's discuss. So turning over to coin market cap, starting here, just getting a quick overview of where we are in the space. Bitcoin is sort of even over the past couple of days, and we have a lot of different coins going up and down, including Golem and Bitcoin raising dramatically this morning, just going up and down all day. Remember, when you're looking at these different coins, if you are doing any trading or buying, just because there's such great fluctuations with the cost of Bitcoin to US dollars, just make sure you're checking all your trades in terms of the Bitcoin value, not the USD value. If you're initially buying, you can look at the USD value, but once you're inside the cryptocurrency universe and you want to buy Litecoin or Dash or any of these other coins, compare their prices, compare their costs to the value in Bitcoin, as you're buying and selling, even if you're buying and holding. So, the first two coins I want to go over are Bitcoin and Litecoin. And so let's talk about Bitcoin and Litecoin. Bitcoin, the total number of Bitcoins that are ever going to exist are going to be 21 million. And if we go to coinmarketcap.com and click on Bitcoin, we can see here that the current circulating supply is around 16.3 million, and that the max supply is going to be 21 million Bitcoins. And so if you wanted to own 1/1,000,000th of all the Bitcoin that will ever be created, then you would want 21 Bitcoins. And if you have 2.1 Bitcoin, then you would have 1/10,000,000th of all the Bitcoin that's ever been created. It's huge just because so few people still have Bitcoin. When we compare this to Litecoin, the current supply of Litecoin is 51 million, and the max supply of Litecoin is 84 million. So this is 4 times that of Bitcoin. And so it's not limited to the same degree as Bitcoin. And so let's think about this. If we wanted 21 Bitcoin to have 1/1,000,000th of Bitcoin, we need 4 times that, which would be 84 Litecoins. So if we had 84 Litecoins, then that would be 1,000,000. And so Bitcoin is used for transactions. Bitcoin is used for a store of value. Bitcoin is right now used as a digital gold. And once the transaction fees are fixed with the SegWit upgrade, then people will have an easier time to use Bitcoin for transactional based currency. But we're having a hard time going through the politics and getting consensus, which just underscores how strong Bitcoin is, that we could have so few companies controlling so much of the mining, yet they can't take 85% of all their power and make all the decisions for Bitcoin. But because of that, we don't have SegWit initiated yet. Litecoin, we have SegWit. And since we have SegWit and since we have additional training of Litecoin on Coinbase, the price per Litecoin has increased dramatically because of the additional utility and value that Litecoin is providing the market. So if we hop over at Bitcoin and we look at the value of Bitcoin in January 2017, the value was $1,960 USD. And if we look at it over here for Litecoin, it was $5, $4.50. And what's just interesting is just to see how this has kept pace. The short of it is that I think the value of Litecoin has a much greater potential, since the utility of Litecoin can reach more people through the microtransactions, where Bitcoin is a store of value and Bitcoin is a digital gold. Litecoin can be the transactional currency, the backup, the testnet to Bitcoin to allow it implement the utility across the world. It's getting more adoption, it's getting more name recognition. And so the question is, if the current value of Bitcoin is around $2,100, can Litecoin become 10% of Bitcoin's value? So can Litecoin go from where it's at now, which is around $22, and can this 10x to $222? I think this has a lot to do with the politics of Bitcoin and how long it takes Bitcoin to get activated. There's major activations happening with not just the agreement that's coming out from the miners and increasing the block size with increasing SegWit, but there's also the user activated soft fork, which is happening in August, and we're going to be posting a video to talk more about that and how that could affect different people. But if and when that happens, depending on how well that rollout of the user activated soft fork happens, or any of these soft forks or hard forks, and how the different interested parties in Bitcoin jump online, that can increase the value of Litecoin dramatically sooner, or it can reinforce the value and the strength of Bitcoin if everything with Bitcoin goes really well. And so the long and short of it is that I think that we can absolutely see the value of Litecoin either doubling 100% or even going 10x from where it is now over the course of the next 6 to 18 months. And so the same sort of logic we see with Dash and PIVX. And so PIVX is a fork of Dash. These developers took what Dash was and all of the reasons why Dash is awesome, and they are saying that they have fixed a lot of the errors with Dash. With what they've fixed with Dash and how they've incorporated that into PIVX, PIVX is a fork of Dash. So PIVX and Dash are the same, based off the same technology, and at this point are extremely similar to each other in terms of how the systems work, how the governance works, how the mining works, with different variables. And so let's look at the price. So the price of Dash is $100, and the price of PIVX is $1.26. And so PIVX is only traded currently in terms of major exchanges. I would say that Bittrex is the one and only major exchange, and that's accounting for 97% of all the volume for PIVX. And when we look at Dash, we see that Dash is more evenly spread across these other exchanges such as Poloniex, BTC, Yobit, some of these other exchanges. So there's a lot of additional places where people have the opportunity to buy and sell and to trade. And so if you're not a trader, this might not be at the top of the mind, but the PIVX technology is extremely similar to the Dash technology, and the Dash market cap is currently 756 million, and then we compare that to the PIVX, which is 67 million. If the PIVX coin gets opened up with a Poloniex or with some of these other exchanges, and then the speculators and the traders jump into the PIVX, realizing that the value of PIVX is 1/100th of that of Dash, then that could just exponentially increase the total number of Dash available, or the total number of speculators purchasing PIVX in the marketplace. And so we see that with Dash, the total supply is 18.9 million, and the PIVX, it's 53 million. What does that mean? I mean, I'm not a trader, and trading isn't even something that I do very strongly for myself or anything of that nature. But what I do recognize is that once the exposure is opened up for PIVX to the marketplace, we can see the amount of money going into PIVX that can increase the value of PIVX 5x or even 10x plus. I just think that the PIVX is a huge opportunity, since Dash has done so well and the technology has so many strong points, with this team behind PIVX being extremely passionate and having some skills in communications and getting people together and sharing information. As this coin gets opened up to additional markets, which I absolutely think is going to be the case, I think that we're going to see a PIVX price explosion. And so I definitely see that on the horizon. And so this isn't just complete guessing and speculation on my part. This is also based on what we've seen from Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So for the longest time, with Ethereum, so what do we have here? January 2017, we have Ethereum at $7 or let's say $8, and then over here we have Ethereum Classic at $2, so or $1.58, a quarter of that. Where do we pump up over here? So March, it's at 16. April, we're at 51. And then March, we're still at 129. And then in April, we jump up to 230. And then in May, we're at $7. In May over here, move over just a little bit, we're at $75. So you can sort of see how it's been keeping, that sort of tenth of the price. So where are we at now? So it's 162 for Ethereum. Ethereum Classic is 15. So we can sort of see how it's sort of been keeping this consistency. So it was $1.50 in January. Tenth of that would have been 84 cents, so it was a little bit more than a tenth of that. We've just been seeing the price catch up. So if you were ahead of the curve and you saw that the Ethereum was increasing in the value, and all these tokens are being built on it, and Ethereum is jumping, in price to $50 in before April, and then before April, Ethereum Classic is where are we here? $2.30. Based on what I'm saying, I would have predicted that the price for Ethereum Classic was going to jump to be that 10% valuation of Ethereum. And then, it took a little bit. We see that jump, $3, $5. And so it's just catching up in that 10% valuation compared to the 10% parity. So the Ethereum is increasing in value before the Ethereum Classic, and so as Ethereum Classic, as the value of Ethereum is increasing, we're seeing the valuation of Ethereum Classic follow it closely behind, because Ethereum Classic is a major project. There are tokens and other projects that are being built on Ethereum Classic, just like there's so many projects being built on Ethereum. Golem, for example, is being built on Ethereum. But one of the major things that people say against Ethereum is that the inflation is unlimited. It's not clearly defined with the total number of coins. And so while Bitcoin is a great store of value and there's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoins, Ethereum is sort of like a gas or a utility, a commodity that is being generated and used. And with that sort of marketplace, it creates a lot of uncertainty long term, because the fluctuation, it will eventually stabilize as people are using Ethereum to run everything in their life. If you make a doorknob where you need to pay Ethereum to open that doorknob, then that's going to use Ethereum, but it still doesn't get away from the fact that there's potentially an unlimited amount of Ethereum that can be created. That's different to Ethereum Classic, because Ethereum Classic is creating a defined set limit in terms of their amount. It's creating different variables, different characteristics for these different coins, and it's just creating value as people are still going to be using these coins. And so as the value of Ethereum is going up, I am expecting the value of Ethereum Classic to chase it at 10%, as the value of Dash remains strong, and PIVX is opening up to different new exchanges and increases new exposure. I think that we're going to see the value of PIVX double or triple or more, maybe even 5x or easily 10x plus. And then with Litecoin, as people use Bitcoin more and more as a store of value, as Bitcoin gets gobbled up by the banks, as many companies all over the world and governments and corporations and organizations and normal investors and normal families are hoarding Bitcoin as the world's currency, Litecoin will step up, in my opinion, to stand in with Bitcoin to transact value on, using SegWit, using something that's really familiar to all the Bitcoin users for these microtransactions, right? If Bitcoin is gold, if Bitcoin is a $100 bill or a $1,000 bill, then what we have is Litecoin acting as the $10 bill and the 20s, and we have Litecoin acting as the silver. And while we can have Dash as our silver, and we can have Dash as transactional currencies as well, or we can have other cryptocurrencies as transactional currencies, Litecoin is something that has a long history, seniority, community respect, decentralization, no pre-mine or early mine or gimmicks like that. and Litecoin has SegWit. It's just a lot of aspects that people really value in the community, which really give it, I think, a huge advantage over other currencies like Dash, which has more of a consolidated central control system, and also a history of how those coins have been mined from the very beginning of their history. So this has been a long video. There's been a lot of detail pumped in here, and I just want everyone to recognize that, you know, what Bitcoin is used for is similar to what Litecoin is used for, and how Ethereum is used is similar to how Ethereum Classic is used, and how Dash is used is very similar to how PIVX is used. And so we have these technologies that are piggybacking off their predecessor, that have evolved to be slightly better in one aspect or another, but won't necessarily replace, you know, the earlier version of where it forked from. But with that being said, it has been clear to me that there's a strong parity of the price and of the value that both users and developers and miners and investors are following. And so I just want to bring, you know, this detail that I've noticed, and I just wanted to share it with you, and just to go over it, because again, we can see Litecoin go from $22 easily to $50+, and then 12 months after that, depending on the adoption rate and how the Litecoin usage inside the cultures around the world follows Bitcoin, we could see Litecoin go to $100 plus very, very easily, very, very quickly, just like how we saw Dash go to $100 very quickly from $10 in January, I believe it was. You know, I'm just looking over here, from $11 in January, and then jumping to $100 between March and April. We can see the same sort of scenario happen with Litecoin. We can see PIVX 10x going from $1 for a PIVX, or $1.50 per PIVX, to $15 is, I think, extremely reasonable, especially, you know, way more reasonable than going $50 to $150, and even that, you know, isn't, or going $15 to $150 is very possible. So Litecoin can easily 1x or 4x. PIVX can easily 10x. And as we see Ethereum grow, I'm going to continue expecting Ethereum Classic to follow it at that 10% ratio. So maybe I'm wrong. Don't make any decisions based on what I'm saying. Please make sure you look at this data yourself. Share your comments and your thoughts below if you think I'm sort of, if I have something right in terms of this thinking, if you think I'm completely off, if you think I'm if you think my prices are under, you know, my predictions are too low, do you think that we could see Litecoin go, you know, way above 50 before the end of the year? Do you think that I'm crazy for thinking that that's even possible? Share those comments below. I really want to know what it is that you think. I'm really hoping that we just all pay attention to what's going on, because there's so much going on and it's happening so very quickly. So with that being said, please hit that like button if this video helped or inspired you. Comment below. I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate you. I love making these videos, and I have more coming on the way. So until then, thanks for showing up, and I'm glad it's together. We're minting coins.